Right, this is a clip, people, that was being shared of a Chechen, sorry, Mufti who the clip said he's forcing these women to remove the niqab. But I don't think he's forcing them, although he is kind of urging them. So they... So they, as you can see, remove the face veil. So this kicked up a bit of controversy online. So he's saying that, look, there is nothing in the Kitab wa Sunnah to prove this face veil thing, and it is a Wahhabi introduction, or a Wahhabi innovation. So now, although I admit it's not purely a Wahhabi thing, it has been in the fiqh textbooks since the beginning. However, he is absolutely correct in saying that it is not from the Quran or Sunnah. That part is absolutely true. So although the Hanafi madhab does also speak of things like face coverings, but they make it very clear this is not from the Kitab wa Sunnah. This is from, and some Malikis who spoke of it as well, made it very clear this was not from the Kitab wa Sunnah. This was from where they were in certain places, certain women felt endangered. So it was more saddan li dhari'ah, to kind of prevent a kind of harm in certain societies. It was not from the Kitab wa Sunnah. So they make it very clear. Now, some madhabs like the Shafi'iyah and some of the Hanabila did feel it was an obligation to cover the face. Now, there's nothing in the Quran or Sunnah that clearly proves that, but they obviously extrapolated and took certain rulings for granted, and that's their perspective. So right now, although I am in favor of preaching that, making it very clear that, look, this face veil is nothing to do with the Quran wa Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, some scholars have said this throughout the centuries, based on their day and age and based on their culture. Which, if you lived 1,000 years ago, in some, I don't know, some kind of dangerous, volatile territory, yeah, sure, if you did that as some kind of tribal practice. But if you fast forward to the 21st century, in all honesty, that's not really happening in the streets of London or Birmingham or Manchester or Paris or wherever it is, New York. These places, nobody's going to be so, oh my God, gobsmacked by the face of a of a woman. Even, I mean, she may be extremely beautiful, but nobody's going to just kind of jump out of a van, pick her up, and run off with her just because they've seen her face. And those kind of things, although you may have feared the bandits 800 years ago living in a desert somewhere, today these things don't really happen like that in this part of the world. You don't need to be so frightened and covered up and like that. So just to be clear on that. Secondly, what this Mufti, the Chechen Mufti, is saying, so I agree, although in part he's just reducing it to the Wahhabis. The Wahhabis today emphasize this point more than any other groups. So that's why he's probably using them as an example. But it is more than just the Wahhabis who have said this. But to force women to remove it, should that be done? Right, okay, I don't agree with force. Okay, that would be wrong equally, because I think you shouldn't force people to do anything to do with clothing. So if somebody did want to walk around dressed like that, that's what you can do, is advise them if you're in that role, if they ask, or you're educating them that this is not actually from the Quran or Sunnah, that this was not what the Prophet taught. However, if you want to, although some men in the past did say this. But that's all it is, the opinion of some men. Now, if you want, it's not what God has said, it's not what the Prophet said, but some scholars did say it. So if you want to follow them and do this, that's ultimately all you're doing, is just following the opinion of a man who probably lived about 1200 years ago. But you're not following the Quran or Sunnah by doing it. However, if you do it, you shouldn't be, nobody should force somebody to, like, they should never rip it off or something like that. That would be equally a violation, and an encroachment on that person's personal civil rights to be able to exercise whatever the hell they want, as long as it's not harming someone else. And them covering themselves is not harming someone else. So, yeah, so that's what I say. I'm not sure if in this clip the Chechnyan scholar is actually forcing them. The people that wrote the kind of the title have listed it as he's forcing them. I'm under the impression he's just kind of urging them, but if it is force, that part is wrong. Cool, I hope that makes some sense. I'd been asked to comment on that. So that's my views on it, that it has no basis, but force of any kind is wrong. All right, people. So what else is going down? All right. Some scholars were mad. They said ridiculous stuff. Yeah. I've been asked, Duke, you're doing it. You're doing it. If they are also brainwashed that they need a niqab, then why do they leave their houses? Yeah, but you know what it is? Look, I'm going to be honest. Sometimes you can't. Like, I don't blame the women, because really, although even the women that wear niqab won't admit to this, but really it's the men who've convinced them about this. And you see, they've been made to feel guilty. Like, if you do this, you're going to burn in hell. You're going to do this. So people, they do it because they worry about the afterlife. So they get like really, and sometimes in many cases, their men might be insecure. Like, I don't want no man to see what your face looks like. Um, which, I don't, and people kind of pride themselves on it. They create these little echo chambers. I remember once speaking to someone, and he said that, and he said it in a very proud way. He said, I needed something from home, and I was somewhere, wherever he was. And he said, I needed that thing, and my mate was going to come. So his mate is going to meet his friend, and he needed this thing, and his mate is close to his house. So he asked his mate, can you go pick this up from my house? So something, nothing major, like, I don't know, let's say some papers. He needed some papers or some documents or something. Now, he said that when he went there, uh, his wife, sorry, it wasn't papers. It would have been bigger, something larger than papers. But he said when he went there, his wife phoned him and said, your friend is here. So his friend phoned him as well, said, look, I'm there. Nobody's opening the door. So his wife called him and said that, yes, somebody's at the door, but because he's a non-mahram, so he's not related to me, I will not open the door to him. I don't care. So he's like, Vah. He's like, Iman, Iman. Huh? ذلك المؤمن. Confirm Jannati hai. Confirm Jannati. All of a sudden, the gates of heaven opened, and the angels started singing praise, and and the heavenly music, and the light came down. And she began her Isra wal Mi'raj. So the person, so this was like a really proud moment for this person. Like, I'm thinking, these people seriously handicapped. like, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is this for real? Like how what that to me, honestly, is either these people are suffering from some psychosis. That's not normal behavior. That is psychotic behavior. I'm telling you, such mindsets out there are very. I would be very scared of such mindsets because that's just weird. That is, man. That's like taking weird to the nth degree. But anyway, so people